everybody, Matt again with Matt's Music Academy. Listen, in today's video, if you are a fan of traditional country type guitar playing, chicken picking, guys like Roy Nichols, James Burton, Albert Lee, Don Rich, you name it, you've come to the right place. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the sounds and techniques and a few licks that you need to sound authentic for that kind of music. Stick around. All right, let's dive in. So I grew up a fan. I'm still a fan of that great traditional country music and chicken picking, which fortunately is making a huge comeback. So that's pretty stinking awesome. My dad was a big Bakersfield which a lot of people think was Roy Nichols on the record. It was actually James Burton on a lot of that stuff. But at any rate, love that kind of playing. The Don Rich kind of, all those great Buck Owen records. They're gonna put me in the movies. All that great kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you a few licks and just kind of talk about some of the technique for that. Now, these guys were Tele players. Oh. So, you know, it's based off that real bitey sound, especially that Bakersfield sound, that just raw Fender amp, little reverb, just bitey, bite your head off type tone. And the reason for that was so it could cut through the mix. And there's a great story of that Bakersfield sound about, you know, Nashville was going toward the Nashville sound, all that Ray Price stuff, which I love as well, but they were going real commercial in the day with a bunch of strings and orchestra and all that. And it is some great music. But Buck was totally rebelling from that. Wanted a totally different sound. Wanted it to just absolutely cut through on the radio. And then he found his guy, Don Rich, and it all came together. Buck's a great player himself. But then that spawned, you know, the Merle Haggards and the Wynn Stewarts and so forth. And then later on, the great Pete Anderson with Dwight Yoakam. You know, all that great stuff. Please, please, baby, come back. Love that kind of stuff, that raw Tele playing. So to get it, you know, you don't have to have a Telecaster, but, you know, you can't go wrong. To just get that real good bite, you want a little bit of reverb and slap back. And we're really playing a lot back here by this bridge. Now, these guys were all flat pickers, and I actually normally, if you watch me much, 99% of the time I play with a thumb pick. It's just how I learned to play. So I'm used to popping with this finger here, but when you're holding a flat pick, you know, you're really getting that pop with these fingers. And I get asked, how much is too much pop? Ain't no such thing. So I'm literally just popping that string. I can use both of these fingers to get that pop. Right? So that's kind of where that chicken picking, you know, sound kind of came from. But I want to talk a little bit about some of those guys I've mentioned, kind of the differences in their playing, and just some quick licks for you. And then I did a little track to where we can put some of that to use. So one of my favorites is definitely James Burton. You know, James obviously played with Elvis and Neil Diamond, just all kinds of people. He was one of the Shin Dogs. I've never had the pleasure of meeting James, but met Glendy Harden, Elvis's piano player, and was the Shin Dog with James. And James actually wore a banjo pick. I just happen to have one here because I played a banjo. James actually wore a banjo pick, a metal pick on his middle finger, which helped give him that sound. That would take me some getting used to. But you know, that's how he'd get that real bitey honk too. But you'll hear James on some of that Merle Haggard stuff. One of the biggest. I mean, that's just about as famous as a lick as you can get. That's James. All right, so this is just the working man blues, or a sus lick, as we call it. So I'm in A. So let's look at this lick. I'm hitting an open A, and I'm barring what's really a C position there. I'm sussing that. Just think if I was barring the whole chord, all I'm doing is hammering on that middle finger. And I'm kind of bouncing off that open A. Really important in country playing are those open strings. Hear that drone in A instead of. Now there are contexts that'll work, but. And really what's going on there is we're going to a D. So it's really going A, D, A, D. Right, that's all James. You know, use that kind of lick a zillion times in this style of playing. James also had a lot of these two-string licks, which my dad plays a lot of, actually. That's a real James Burton type of. So if we're in A, what I'm thinking here is a D position for that A. So I'm on the 10th fret there, B string, bending the 12th fret, B string up, whole note. And then you can grab this with your pinky while it's still bent, the 12th fret, E string. And there's several things you can do here. You can also go back like this. While this is still bent, it's hard to do slow. Back to this note, then bend down. So one more time. Another option there is so I'm just bending up like we have been. And I'm just doing just a little. You know, there's just, again, we're working out of a D position there. You can add on to that still. I can go up to the 14th fret. Give it a lot more of that steel guitar. These are hard to do slow, by the way. So again, any variation. My dad would just You know? And a lot of that is palm muting some of those notes. We want a lot of ghost notes in this style. That's that chicken sound. All right, so James Burton. All right, let's move on, talk about somebody else. Let's talk about Roy Nichols. A lot of those early Merle records, again, was James Burton on the record. But long about the time Mama Tried came out is when Roy was joining the band. So it's actually James going. All right, just as an example. And then you hear Roy come in. Roy liked to bend interesting notes. You know, that's a lot of what Roy was known for. Roy was a great jazz player, and he just liked to... and what I mean, that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing there, let's say we're in D. Let's just take a D. So if we're in a D position, I'm going up here to the 7th fret. I'm going to play this A note. And I'm going to go to here. And what I'm doing is I'm bending this at the 8th fret up to the 10th fret. So if we're really Roy Nichols. Roy liked to do, you know, you hear him do this. You know, you like to do cool stuff like that. So like if you're in G, you're coming up to the 12th fret on the B string, pre-bending. You can give it some ghost notes, but pre-bend, let it fall. And then you're hitting the G string, so the 3rd string on the 10th fret. Sounds weird and dissonant all by itself, but again, Roy's a great player, so there's a lick you can incorporate. All right, let's talk about Don Rich. Don Rich with Buck, you know, originally was a fiddle player, but, you know, learned how to play guitar. He was a prodigy, read music, the whole 9 yards. You know, Buck had that real... That was based off, you know, 7 chords. You know, Buck's. So, real snappy. So all I'm doing there is playing an A chord, an A7. So we're not just take a normal A, just not take the G is open. I'm just grabbing that chord. Then I'm sussing it. And what you're hearing here, if you'll pay attention, again, this is important in this music. I'm going to try to mute it and just, my pick is staying on the A string. I'm going to try to not let you hear what I'm playing on the other and just listen to this A string. That's what's going on there with that. Right? I'm droning off of that A string. That's real Don Rich. Don definitely had that. Right? For an A, just really, it's all based off palm muting. Just short notes. And you can do it in any key. Let's say we're in G. I'm just bouncing off that high G note to the 7 flat, or the F. But if you don't mute it, you know, it sounds okay, but it's not the... Right? That's real Don Rich stuff. Great, great stuff. Albert Lee, one of the kings, the great Albert Lee. Would use a lot, you know, Albert was known for a lot of stuff, but these banjo rolls he was especially good at. Now I'm not sure how he rolled it, but if we take a G, common country kind of lick here, banjo roll. So, and I do play banjo, but definitely not with a flat pick. So all we're doing is first fingers on the second string on the 3rd fret here, and then the G is open, and then we're just rolling from the 4th fret to the 5th fret on the D string. So that's all that's going on as far as the left hand. Okay, and what I'm doing with my right is, so I'm hammering on that note, and I'm hybrid picking this. You don't have to, but if I hybrid pick it, I'm going hammer on. It's hard to do slow. Hammer on, middle finger back to the pick, then ring finger, then back to the pick, and then after that, 3rd is just pick, middle, in a row. Okay, but you can do it with your, you know, straight pick. See, for me, this is why thumping, you know, I can just get it so much faster. And you probably, you know, you've heard this on Country Boy. And on and so forth. So you can roll it. The cool thing about that lick is you can go down, just do this. Take it down 2 frets to basically a C. Right, so you can get that. In newer country, you'd hear like Toby Keith. You know, it's the same. It's just an extension of that lick. I say modern. Good Lord, that's 20-something years old now. But again, Albert, you know, Albert would also do them like in E. Those good banjo rolls. So all we're doing here is the B and the E are open, starting on the 1st fret, and we're just walking this string up like a banjo. Same pattern here. So I mean, Albert had a lot of stuff. Another great Albert Lee lick is using kind of that Western swingy type sound. Is Albert would really use, like if you're in G, let's say, and you're strumming along. Albert would come up here and use these 7. So if we're strumming along, and that's kind of it's a G7 taking you to a C, for example. So if we're in the key of G, I'm coming up to the 7th fret, putting those right in order. Okay. So you can do it. And that will take you to a C. Okay. Just FYI, if you remember the Johnny Rivers song, Memphis. It's the same thing you do for the solo. Same chords. So let me show you a few licks that I think can really help you dress up your playing and get that country sound. And they're movable, so you can move them anywhere. So here's an example of the first one. We're going to be in the key of A. Okay, so we're all right. So here's the way that lick works. So 4th string, 2nd to 4th fret, right to the A note there, 3rd string, 2nd fret. Then we're going to bend the 4th fret, 3rd string. Then we're catching the 2nd string with our pinky on the 5th fret. So that's the first part. Then we're going to jump up here to this position. So ring finger is going to be on the 7th fret and do the same kind of bend. So pinky's on the 2nd string, 8th fret. Then we're leaving this bent. Bend it back down. And then what I'm doing is I'm, just like we did on that Working Man Blues lick, hammering from the 5th to the 6th fret. So in its entirety, all right, great lick in A. It's movable. So the way you know where you're at and the way you know where to put it, notice this lick is in an A position. Okay, in other words, I'm in A, but it's also this nice A position. So if I'm doing a power chord or a bar chord, it'd look like this, okay? That's how you know where to start that lick. So for example, if I'm in the key of C and I want to do that lick, I know it's going to start on this A position, and then it's just muscle memory. Okay, I know I'm in the key of C, so it's going to be on that A position. Right, and so on. If I'm in E, there's an E bar chord, it's going to be in this A position. So that's how you know where to put that. Now, experiment with it. So let's go back to A. Right? You can go the other way with it. You know, you can move it around. Any way you want to do it. And that's a good one. All right, let's move on to this lick. So it's a really common one. You can use it for a zillion things. But what I'm trying to show you is taking that lick, really experiment and doing something different with it. So let's say we're in the key of G. We're going to use this classic blues type of run here. Okay, and all it is the beginning of a major scale. Right? So, just these two notes. That G note, third fret 4th string, up to the 5th fret, E string, 3rd string, 6th string, or I'm sorry, 7th fret. Same strings. You remember. Right? It's that position right there. But what we're doing in country is we're really bending this string and experiment with it anytime you want. You can pre-bend it. Right, I'm just pre-bending it, hitting that top string. Same thing. Same thing here. You can give it one of these. And you can come straight down if you want. You hear it in, Pete Anderson uses it in kind of one of the solos of, he'll go, something similar to that, but that's, you hear it there. The good thing is it's movable. You can use it anywhere. That's with A, if you're in C. Right, so it's really movable. I like it too, if you're in a G, let's say, and you're coming from the D, the 5. You can start it on that D run and come all the way down with it. So and you can land there, Same lick. I'm just grabbing a C there. And depending on the song, you don't have to bend it. Right? Great lick. Yeah, so the important thing is to experiment around with that stuff, you know. You know, move them around. I have a bunch of videos on this, kind of a series, if you will. So consider this part one, and I look forward to doing a lot more of these. Please leave me a comment if you like these kind of videos, if you like this kind of content, and let me know what you need. Again, if you're interested, I've got links below of all the gear that I'm using. That'll take you to Sweetwater. Full disclosure, if you buy something, I do get a small commission. Helps keep the channel going and bringing you more content. Please make sure you like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're interested in more of what I do, how I get my tones and gear reviews and things like that, you can always check out my other channel, Notes and Knobs, and I'll put the picture here for you, where I talk more about that kind of stuff. But listen, it's never too late to play, and I'll see you next time.